Perfect for parties and perfect for platters, these are our Pakora prawns.
So to begin with, we need to marinate our prawns. These are raw kind of tiger prawns, which we're going to cook in our pakora later on. But to start off with, some Indian kind of spices, so ginger and garlic. If you can start with those, nice and fine. And I'm going to do the chilli, one red, one green. Again, just a fine slice, and we'll take the seeds out. So we'll cut down and around, fingers out of the way, and that's the bit we want. So we'll get our chilli nice and fine. We don't want to be chomping on any big bits of chilli in this.
Nope.
We can add our chilli into the bowl, and then mix that in with our prawns, which are just whole and shelled already. Get some fresh coriander in there as well. So if you can put your garlic and ginger in there as well, a little bit of salt, and then we mix the whole lot up. Now the longer you can leave this to marinate, the better, but for today we'll just leave it to one side for the moment while we make our batter.
Okay, could you leave this overnight?
Yeah, literally the longer the better. So overnight is even perfect. In a sandwich bag or something in the fridge, just let those flavours really intensify into the prawn.
Yep.
Meanwhile, we can make our batter. It's an Indian classic, normally with gram flour, but we're going to use plain flour, so you can do that just the same. What I'm going to do is just add a few spices, so half a teaspoon of ground turmeric, half a teaspoon of ground cumin, and half a teaspoon of curry powder. And the same again of salt. So it's a well seasoned, lots of spice, and you can smell already. That curry powder is one that's already got lots of spices combined. And what we do is add a warm water. But if you just mix that in until you have a nice smooth paste, give it a really good mix. Make sure you get all the bits out of that whisk as well, Jamie. Perfect. So you can see how, that's it, how gloopy and sticky that is. That's exactly what you want. The oil needs to be at 180 degrees Celsius.
Whoa, what's that?
Just a probe. If you haven't got one of these, you can just use a deep fat fryer, or you can test it with a piece of bread and put it in and just see if it floats and bubbles. So there we go, just wait till it comes up and hold it at that temperature. So 182, that's near enough. So, grab yourself a prawn.
Yep.
It's got all that marinade on. And then, because it's so gloopy, you really need to put it in there and scoop up a load like that and drop the whole thing in, lower it gently into the oil. You want to get 3 or 4 into the pan
Like that.
in quick succession, so they all cook at roughly the same time. And then we can make a raita dip to go with it. So simple. Jamie, I'm going to give you a cucumber.
Whoa. First a probe and now a cucumber.
All I want you to do is grate it.
Right.
So you can leave the wet middle bit in. So you want to go around all sort of sides. You want the green bits, but not that really centre wet pork, because that'll make it too wet. Every so often, just give those prawns a bit of a stir to make sure they're not sticking together. They only need about a minute to 90 seconds. I'm going to chop a little bit of mint to go with our raita. So it's so simple. It's just yoghurt, cucumber, and fresh mint. And that's all we need. There we go. So all of that cucumberness goes into there. We'll give that a good stir up with some salt and pepper. And meanwhile, I'll fish these prawns out. So you can see now, lovely and crispy. I'm just going to put them onto a little bit of kitchen roll or blue paper, whatever you've got, just to drain excess fat. Now this is a great Indian starter, or perfect as a sharing platter. So if you want to do loads, pop them into a very low oven. Literally 80 degrees is all you need, just to keep them warm while you fry a few more. We'll carry on battering and frying off a few more, so we've got enough to share, and then we can plate it up, and the platter of Pakora prawns will be done.
Easy for you to say.
So we'll just fish out our last few prawns.
He's done it again with the fish out. It's just prawn.
Tongue out.
In the sea.
Tongue out. Is that better? A quick bed of spinach onto our platter. Remember, this is for sharing, so we're going to portion up loads on here. Fresh spinach, nice green base. What that also does is help to absorb any excess grease. And then if we just position a few lemon on those side, these crispy Pakora prawns, plenty to go around. So there we go, perfect as a platter to share with friends or as an Indian starter. It's our Pakora prawns with cucumber raita, sorted.
Oh, wow.
Wow, did not expect that.
That is lovely.
Mmm.
Mm-mm.